I thought the day was over, Tom. I legitimately thought you were going to get your second or third million viewed video when you put out Stephon Gilmore traded to the Packers this afternoon.
Buddy, like
Panthers
after we got off of GPS, I was driving my car because I would go take care of some cats. And I was driving, and I was like, there was like a flutter of excitement for a moment, and I was like, oh my God, are we going to get Stephon Gilmore? And then I started picturing Stephon Gilmore with Jair Alexander. And I was like, oh man, happiness and excitement and positivity. And then literally as soon as the tweet goes out, I got actually really excited because I saw PA and I just saw ERS. I was like, oh my, Panthers? Because that's not even a team we talked about. Didn't even mention them.
No, I mean,
not at all.
And the Panthers, they make sense. Because they did lose J.C. Horn,
which we talked about on the show.
They are competitive, right? Great defense right now. Need a little depth there in the secondary. What I do enjoy is that if the Packers did not get Gilmore, I was concerned the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were going to get him. And like we discussed during the show this morning, Bruce Arians in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers GM followed Stephon Gilmore, his Instagram account this morning. So,
and Gilmore followed Aaron Rodgers, Jair Alexander, like he was following Tramon Williams. So like it was all cascading of like, oh God, like maybe we're actually going to get him. And instead, the Carolina Panthers trade a 2023 sixth round pick.
Oh, it's not even a 2022?
2023.
Wow.
Sixth round pick for Stephon Gilmore. And like there's so many things that like I wanna say about this. There's so many things because as soon as that happened, I was like, well, my DMs fare thee well, my friend. I was gonna give him a Vikings funeral and just light them on fire and send them down the river. But like, here's the thing. A lot of people, and I tweeted about this too. I put out the tweet because I knew this is exactly what was going to happen. People, Packers fans, are losing their minds because they're like, what is Goody doing? A 2023 sixth round pick and you couldn't give more? But the problem is, folks, there's a multitude of things. One, we have no idea what went on behind the scenes. No idea. Carolina, literally, Stephon Gilmore lives, like I said, a few houses down. I think it was from like the GM or the coach of the Carolina Panthers. So that's his hometown, one. Two, we have no idea because they were going to release him at 4 p.m. Eastern today. If the Patriots are like, hey, listen, bud, let's talk to your agent. Let's talk to Sam. Like, hey, maybe we can give you some decision-making power here and you could decide, where you would like to go. And we can call up those teams and see if we can make something happen. So we at least get something instead of nothing and just releasing him. So we know none of that. But fans are just like, damn it, Goody! Like, you piece of garbage. We have no idea. So it's not about just trading a higher draft pick to try and get Gilmore because we don't know what the terms were. The truth is that the Panthers are rolling in cap space right now. They have a ton of money, and we have $7.2 million. And it would have cost like $7 million just to acquire him in a trade. And on top of that, we have no cap for next year. And people are like, well, it was a 1-year rental. Just 1 year rental. We don't know what the terms were. So at this point now, Stephon Gilmore, the reason he's leaving the Patriots is because he wanted a long-term deal. He can get that with the Panthers. And the Patriots might have thrown him a bone and said, here you go. Now you can go to a team you want to go to.
Yeah, I doubt the Patriots would be a team to say, don't care. We're going to trade you now. Sorry. We said we were going to release you, but we're backtracking because we can get something. So value, they got something out of Stephon Gilmore.
Yep.
And not to pat ourselves on the back, but we did have a technical difficulty this morning. And while you were relogging into the stream, I said the Patriots could trade Stephon Gilmore before 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that maybe they released this news that they're going to release him to get a team to commit to giving them something for Stephon Gilmore before he hit the open market, and your chances of making a deal, go down because the market's so much more competitive. Also, here's what's crazy about the Panthers, because we know they lost J.C. Horn, their rookie corner that they drafted 8th overall. But they recently traded for C.J. Henderson from Jacksonville, another first-round corner. They've got A.J. Boye on the roster, Dante Jackson, who's been really, really good for them, and then I think Keith Taylor. So they actually, it seems like they've got a lot of depth there.
Dude, they got depth up the wazoo.
They're
got
adding
all
to the
depth.
riches. They're like, we can't have enough corners. You can never have enough corners. And we don't know when or actually how healthy Stephon Gilmore is. So that's the real big question mark. Supposedly we'll be ready to go after week 6, according to Patriots doctors. Maybe that's sooner. Not sure yet. But I guess it makes sense for the Panthers when you think about J.C. Horn's injury, but they just traded for a corner, which maybe that means C.J. Henderson, they're not impressed with him. They gave up, tight end Dan Arnold to get him. Maybe the Jags actually look smart in that trade. I don't know. But
I think
there's a lot of teams that could have used Gilmore,
a lot of them
should have tried to give up a little bit more. Like you said, you don't know what the terms were, what was happening, and
that's what it is. Like if the Patriots were like, if they were like, you know what, let's just listen to the best offer, and the best offer is a 2023 6th round pick from the Panthers, that's when you go, oh yeah, now we kick the Packers in the ass a little bit. But like, that's the thing too. You don't know how Gilmore would have responded to going to a team if he was forced to go there. Like He could have sat out. It's his final year of his contract. We've seen it happen before. And people are like, oh, well, that would never happen. You don't know that. The only thing we knew was that the reason why Gilmore and the Patriots were splitting up was because they couldn't agree to a long-term deal because of injuries. And they tried to trade him around. They all said no. It came out that he was going to get released. So the market was already going to be low because no team is going to overpay for him because they know that he was going to be free in a couple hours.
Right.
So I think at the end of the day, like it just comes down to what we know and what we don't know. And what we do know is they didn't get along when it came to the contract extension. They weren't going to agree on that. He needed to go to a team where he was going to get that. And on top of that, it comes down to how much they were going to be offered. Now, I don't know if the Packers, just were like, you know what? Nah, like we're not going to make that trade. On top of that, we also, and this is where you and I were talking about this right before we went live, Jair Alexander, his status is going to be revealed after 4 p.m. Eastern today. If he's good to go, I understand you still want a Gilmore type, but I also understand that if you want to focus on those young guys because you need that money for an extension for Jair Alexander, who we need to extend because it's his final year next season. There's so many working pieces around. And I think that fans are just way too quick to jump on like the screw the front office. They screwed us over completely. And we just don't know. Like, we just truly don't know.
What we do know is Packers fans wanted Stephon Gilmore so badly.
They did.
That in my NFL trending here, I've got Kevin King, Jair Alexander, and trending with Stokes. So all of the other Packers corners are trending because of this news.
Yep. And that is 100% correct. Yes. And Leroy Butler going, well, are you upset the Packers didn't go after Gilmore? Not now, Leroy Butler. Not now. I think it's. I think it was going to be tough for us to make it work, and I think Packers fans, including myself, got very, very excited about the potential of him going there. I mean, we've talked about Stephon Gilmore on my channel before when he was potentially available. And this was kind of just a gut punch because you had the agent coming out and saying like, oh, he wants to go to Green Bay and all the Instagram follows and everything like that. And then the Panthers come out of nowhere and they're like, hey, guys, what's going on? How are you? Good to see you.
Panthers are turning into a sneaky, interesting team. Like going after, getting players they want. They're trying to like win right now. They've got the hardest quarterback to defend against the run in Sam Darnold. And they'll get Christian McCaffrey back at some point. And I'm hoping Carolina compete with Tampa Bay in the NFC South. Just give Tampa a run for their money. You can do it with that defense. Had a rough outing against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Also, yes, I did see that Matt Nagy named
Justin
Justin Fields a starter.
He's the starter for the rest of the season until they decide that they don't want that anymore.
So, again, we were all over that this morning. Credit Tom Grossi and Brandon Perna for NFL news gurus.
But, yeah, I think, you could – I'm trying to, look at the glass half full. He didn't go to the Buccaneers, which is nice.
Yeah, thank you.
He didn't go to the Chiefs for you, so that's nice too.
Yeah, and Bruce Arians also said he doesn't know when Carlton Davis is coming back, when Sean Murphy Bunting's coming back. He said he thinks it's going to be a while. So the Bucs really could have used Stephon Gilmore. It's not just like the Bucs are good, everybody wants to go play for him. This was actually a need for their secondary.
Yep.
But I'm sure you're happy that, the 49ers and or the Seahawks didn't get Gilmore. Not the same division, but it feels to me like the Packers are in the division with those teams because they've met in the playoffs so many times.
Them so much.
Like a thorn in your side.
I'm so glad they didn't go to the West. I hate them so much.
Yeah, so if you're a Packers fan, just be happy he didn't go to a real threat to you.
Well, I'm going to put it this way. Again, I already know it's going to be a horrid rest of the day, especially if the Jair Alexander news is not good.
Yeah.
But I'm just imploring people to take a tiny step back and just wait to see if we hear more details, because the way that things are being pieced together, listen, I understand it's a business and it would be the best offer, but realistically, do you not think that the Packers offered more or would have offered more than a 2023 sixth round pick? I feel like more teams offered than that, or at least it was something close. And again, these are just assumptions, obviously, but we can't assume that the Packers didn't try to go and get him. So I just feel like trash the office if this was the only offer they had on the table. If that's what we find out, then that's a different conversation. But right this second, it's not to be productive.
It's a fun situation to overreact to immediately, and then maybe you'll figure out a little bit more.
Or maybe Jair Alexander's healthy. Again, maybe Jair Alexander is not, the injury's not that bad. They need to extend him. You have Eric Stokes, who's been playing pretty well. Kevin King, I know how people feel about Kevin King. Kevin King is going to come back. Maybe they're just looking at this and saying, listen, let's not add voided years on here. The rental, it's going to be too expensive. Maybe they're going after a pass rusher. I'm not trying, and I want to be clear, I'm not trying to go to bat for the front office. I'm just saying everything I've seen is so incredibly negative, and they're just blaming the front office without any knowledge of what the situation was behind the scenes. And I guarantee you, LaFleur is going to get a question asked during his press conference today about Stephon Gilmore. So wait and see. So just wait and see. That's it.
That's all.
It. And then you could I'm just saying, not even put away your pitchforks. Just lower them for a hot second. Okay, get the lighter ready for the torch. Just hold on to it. That's it.
Well, yeah, and it's I hate to use what has become a cliche for the Patriots, but nobody knows for certain how good Stephon Gilmore is right now.
Yeah,
there's obviously the injury thing. He kind of had a rough 2020 season with the Patriots.
Yeah.
Other corners emerged there that the Patriots feel are better than him. So it's really he's not going to be 2019 Stephon Gilmore, in my opinion, where he's the best corner in the league. Doesn't mean he won't be good, but it's not like a guaranteed you get this guy and your defense is completely, bulletproof.
By the way, so there's a few tweets that just came out that are of importance here. So Ian Rappaport came out. Hold on one sec. No, I didn't care about the Ian one. Oh no. By the way, he's down the block from the GM. Rob Domofsky actually just tweeted out, and this is kind of important. So he said, on the Packers and their involvement with Gilmore, they had been exploring this for a while. It didn't work. The fact that it didn't work had nothing to do with the trade compensation, but rather the Packers not being able to absorb the remaining portion of his base salary on this year's cap. At first, Gilmore wanted a massive new deal to go along with any trade. Even when he backed off that demand, the Patriots were having trouble finding a trade partner. At that point, it became smart for New England to get it out there. The Packers were going to sign him if no trade. That likely prompted the Panthers to get involved. The only way the Packers could have gotten him, they could have gotten Gilmore, is signing him after the Pats released him so they could structure the deal favorably towards their cap. So the Packers legit just did not have money.
There it is.
That's it.
Sometimes you don't have the money, you know, like I would like a Ferrari, but I can't go buy one.
Yeah.
I would like to eat at Outback Steakhouse 7 nights a week. Well, I could afford that, but you know, let's not get into Outback Steakhouse right now. So yeah, money. There it is. You got to think of, like, you also have to think about the future of your team, which you just made a bunch of points about. And that's what gets complex when you're talking about sort of a surprise cut. And as a GM of a football team, you have to make a decision quickly too. Like, I know teams have been interested in Gilmore, and maybe this has been on the radar, but the Patriots say this morning they're going to release him. As an organization, you're trying to make a huge decision in a small window. Like, Tom and I are struggling just to get enough freaking videos out today to cover all the news that's happening. Imagine being in charge of your entire football team and saying, okay, we can put a couple $1 million into this guy this year. It's going to screw some things up later. Like, let's pull the trigger. Like, that's not really the Packers' MO either.
Clint, no, that's the complete opposite of what we just said. So the thing is that it had nothing to do with the trade compensation. The issue was that the Packers could only afford his current salary to their base salary if he was released. Because when you're traded, you have to absorb what their current deal is. And they could not afford to do that. And so the issue doesn't come down to trading picks or like, how can you give up like a 5th round or whatever? It's not that. The problem was the Packers have so little money this year. We have $7.2 million. Is that we flat out could not afford to trade for him and take on his salary.
The Packers basically needed the Patriots to say, we will cover a certain portion of Gilmore's salary, which teams will do when they really want to move on from someone. And I'm assuming the Patriots, the Panthers were like, yeah, we'll pay a salary. The Patriots don't have to do that with the Panthers. Like, the Panthers right now are paying Teddy Bridgewater to play for the Broncos. So like, you can work money in trades, but both parties have to be willing to do that. And if the Patriots didn't need to do that, they're not going to just give the Packers that favor. You know what I mean?
It's that one. And two, at the same time, like, they wanted to get something out of Gilmore. And so like the agent probably played, doing the agent thing and said like, oh, the Packers are just going to sign him. So then the Panthers get involved and they're like, oh, well, we'll trade you for him. Because the only way the Packers were going to get it, they didn't just sit there and do nothing. The only way that they were going to do it is if he was released, because then they could sign him to a new deal and make him happy and do all that great stuff.
The Packers needed a full release and they didn't get it.
That's it. So I understand the frustration, but just make sure your frustrations are not aimed at the Packers front office for this potential thing, because they didn't have enough money to do it.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. They just didn't have enough money. That's all.
So you guys need to make more money.
We should have printed more, to be honest. Yeah. And, I know we got a couple super chats today, but unfortunately, I don't think the $300 would have made a difference. So,
no.
Yeah, that's the.
You needed 3 million, probably.
Yeah,
if you multiply that by 10,000, boom.
Yeah. Well, oh my God, it's gonna be a long day. It's gonna be
Tom, you're gonna be all right. You guys, Packers defense, not bad right now. So
we'll see what the Jair Alexander.
Let's see.
Let's see what that news is.
Let's hope the real best corner in the league is healthy. Well, the dreams are dead. Any last things you want to say before we get out of this abbreviated version of GPS live breaking news segment?
Jay Sternberger is going to the Washington football team. Friend of the show of Packcast, went to the practice squad of the Seahawks and going there. So there you go. But
Cool.
yeah, I understand the disappointment. I am very disappointed as well. I'm not happy about it, but it just came down to we didn't have the money. It's not the compensation. It's not the trade compensation. It's the lack of money. It's not that the Packers didn't try. And I would assume that if he did get released, the Packers would have made something work, or at least had a really good bid to make something work. But alas,
didn't work out.
So we'll see what they say about Jair Alexander. Should learn after 4 p.m. Eastern time. Predictions will come out before then. But yeah, we'll just got to sit on our hands and hope that Jair Alexander is okay. And if not, then like I said, it's going to be a rough day on the internet. It's going to be a rough day on the internet.
Good luck, Tom.
Yeah. So, Brandon, appreciate you, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
GPS part 2.
Thank you guys for checking us out.